Thank you, Andim. So I guess we can start with a little prayer, just to feel centered and to have Jesus being this in presence to this meeting. So let's just take a big, deep breath and then just recenter our heart in front of Christ that is here, really present for this meeting, this special event. Heavenly Father, thank you for us to have this opportunity to sit down together and be enlightened by your graces. Help us to understand more how to live our faith in this situation that we are living. Help us as we are. Help us to understand more what is your intention for us. Give us also this joy of being very close to you and to be the salt and light of the world to all the action we are doing, all the discernment we are doing in the event to help you bring the kingdom of God more closer to our surrounding, our daily life. We pray in the name of Jesus, our Savior. Amen.
Thank you, Nam. Welcome, everybody, and welcome to this special session on forming conscience for faithful citizens. We are very grateful for the president of NCOI who has agreed to accept our invitation to have the session in English. Now, this session is specifically designed for the young adults. So we're going to deal with issues directly instead of the documents. Of course, NCOI will have the answer based on the documents, but we will be focused on the issues from that point of view. And I would like to introduce to you, first is Nam. If you know already, he's the Vice President of Donghan CLC. It's important to note that he's from Canada. He's a citizen of Montreal. So we can say that he's quite a political entity here in this session. So hopefully this thing is not about politics. It is about morality. It's about the teaching of the church. And with that, we have NCOI here. Now, NCOI is a gift for us in this aspect because NCOI is a member of the Committee on Catechism. He also has a Master of Art in Theology or Theological Studies, and another degree that I can't remember on top of my head, and my sincere apology for that. Let me see here if I can. Also from Christendom College. So he's very well versed in the document. He also teach classes in regard to morality, theology and morality for the Diocese of Galveston or the Archdiocese of Galveston. So we are grateful for NCOI to accept our invitation to be here with us to help us in this aspect. So with no further, I would like to present NCOI and have a grand applause to him. Thank you, NCOI.
Xin chào tất cả anh chị em.
Yeah, here I'm going to give it back to Nam, who will be the moderator for this session.
Yeah, thank you, An Lim. Yeah, I'm very honored to be present with you all. As you know, I'm Canadian, so I don't vote here, but I think it's very with excitement that you know I feel that I can be in communion with you. So I know that all the issue that you are having right now, it's actually just not within the boundaries of the USA, but it's a lot more very important that those issue also is very worldwide. So I'm very glad to be of service for this event. So my intention is not really to sparkle any debates, but really to just propose a space here so that we can deepen our understanding on how the church wanted to teach us about the morality in this situation. And I know also that a lot of young adults, including me, have a lot of questions, and I'm very excited that Ankoy is here present to actually enlighten us for that. So probably I would like, before we commence, I would like you to remind that you can actually send me your question in a private chat with me, and I'll try my best to actually try to categorize that. And on behalf of you, I will try to let Ankoy ask those questions. So please feel free to send any question that you wanted to express or to ask. And yeah, I can actually say that I apologize in advance that probably I won't be able to guarantee that I will be uh, saying all these questions being answered. So yeah, please bear with that. So I don't know if we can continue, but yeah, we did have some of the question. And Chloe, I don't know if you are ready for the first to prepare the context, and we can
Yeah,
commence.
I'm ready for the first question.
Good.
You want to read the first question?
Yeah. Yes, I'll do that. So you see, to start this open space here, there's one thing that is really happening very close to this election is that there are a lot of many articulations circulating around this moment, and especially they are coming from the priests and even bishops. So there those articulation frame a lot of issues like life, LGBT, to social justice, and they say that these all are all equal. They do not have any. They didn't take into in consideration the gravity of each of the issue. So one example is that about the matters of 61 million babies losing their life in the U.S. Um, we don't talk about it. That's about like 4 every hours that we are losing. So my question is actually, and that's the question that the young adults said, should the gravity of all issue be considered to be equal?
Okay. My answer is this. Before I answer you this question, I would like to give you a little background on why there are bishop and priest teaching differently from each other. In the United States, there are three camps of Catholics. One which I can call that the true Catholic, that faithful to the church and everything the church teaching, and one called traditional. Traditional is the people who don't want to change anything. They want to keep something like before Vatican II. And another group called progressive or liberal. And that progressive and liberal want to change the church completely from the past. But as Pope Benedict said, that the church is continuation of the old church. Even after Vatican II, everything the old church teaching still have values, and our church now is continuation of the old one. It's not like cut off of the old one and start brand new church after Vatican. So those priests and bishops who feel like we need to cut off completely from the old church, they form a liberal camp of the church. And those liberal camp, like about 40 years ago, they came up with a theory called seamless garment. That means everybody in the church the same, like in a piece of garment, every part of the garment equally important. So those people, they make everything equally important. And they taught that uh, lay people that everything, all the issue, especially social issue, are equally important. And the traditional said only abortion is important, while the majority of the church teaching said that yes, everything is important, but there are one more important than the other, like form the basis of the other. So I give you an example. In our body, what is the most important part of our body? The head, right? Or the brain. But can you live just with the brain and the head without the heart? Okay. So the heart also equally important with the brain. But also the leg, the arm, the mouth, the nose, the eyes, they are all important. But what is the most important? Without that, a person cannot live. It's the head, right? Or the heart. The same thing with the church. All the issues that the church talk about are important, but there one of them that's very important. Okay. So another example, I can go out with a house. In your house, what is the most important part of your house? The door, the roof, the wall, the kitchen. And now in Canada, the heater. So without one of them, you may not survive, right? But what is the most important part of the house? Any of you give me an answer?
The foundation.
The foundation, yeah. The foundation is most important. So Jesus said that he got the story, the parable of the two houses, right? One built on sand and one built on rock. And the foundation is the one that keep the house strong or not. So really the foundation of all the social teaching of the church is life. Life issue is most important. If people cannot live, if people are not born, all the other rights have nothing, okay? Doesn't mean anything to them. So the life, the right to life is the most important issue among all the equally important issues. That is the answer for the first question and also the second question. Okay, because the first question, my answer would be, no, they are not equally important. The second question that I answer is life is the most important issue. So everything you do, you need to base on the life issue to really weight all the other issues. Like if you analyze policy of a party, and if they don't respect life, and they said they care for the poor, if there are no life, there's no poor people there. How can they take care of them? So life is more important. So if they kill life from the beginning, then whatever they say is just a mean to get vote, doesn't really mean from the heart. So just think about the baby. Uh, a lot of people who for abortion say, "Oh, my body, I can control it. Why you tell me what to do with my body?" But science shows us that the fetus inside the womb of the woman is a different person. Right at the time of the conception, I mean, the eggs and the sperm join together, and new life come in there. Even there's only one tissue there, new life. Okay. And that new life have different DNA, different set of genome from the mother, from the father, and that genome stay with that person for the rest of their life. So that is completely brand new person based on science, not really just faith. Science telling you that when a sperm and an egg join together, become a fertilized egg, it already start a new life with completely different set of DNA from the mother and the father. And that's what the church teach, that life start from conception. And when life start from conception, we cannot abort. If we abort, then we abort life. And if we abort life, then really we abort the foundation of life, of all the other right to life, all the other human right. Anybody have any question about what I answered?
So in a sense, what you said is that really life is the top priority that we should consider in this when we choose we do some appropriate decision. So if, for example, now that we know that, um, and now that we know that there's a lot of articulation being surrounding here, so how can one can actually one would say to somebody that have those kind of articulation that are false, like naturally when we say that the blue is yeah, the sky is blue, well the sky is blue, but now we have people, for example, that try to say to us that the sky is green, and they will find a way to formulate and express a kind of articulation to convince us and even themselves that it is true. So for you, what would you advise us to those who are being tricked by those kind of false articulations?
Okay. Um, I can use the word of the bishop. Okay. And in the word of bishops said that when you look at the policy for all the parties and candidates, and normally they use a poison pill in there, and that poison pill is abortion. Like all the policies, a lot of policy to help the poor, even from other country, that have an attachment there, and that attachment is they have to accept homosexuality, homosexual marriage. They have to accept, like they call it uh, population control. Another word, abortion. Okay, so if they don't accept abortion, like in the past, some of the U.S. Uh, policy did not even help the poor when a poor country refused to promote abortion or contraception. So really, when you look at the policy, you need to look for the poison pill in there. If they said they are for the poor, and look at the policy. If in the policy there are conditions in there, like they have to accept homosexuality, they have to accept abortion, they have to accept contraception, uh, then really those are poison pill that make all the good thing helping the poor become a poison cup. Like you are thirsty, you got a cup, look really nice and very, you want to drink it. But if somebody put a drop of poison in there, would you drink it? And that is the problem of today politics. Some people put their own agenda in there in helping the poor, but also force the poor to accept certain things against their conscience. For example, in the past, the health care, for example, Obamacare, that forced we have to pay for contraception. Okay, and sometimes we have to pay for abortion, and those kind of things are not acceptable to us because based on church teaching and based on our own conscience, when we pay for it, we really indirectly cooperate with evil because we cooperate with killing an innocent person in the womb of the mom. And that's what we look at. That means all the policy, like from the South Bite, look sound very nice, but we have to go in there and read all the details to be sure that they don't have poison in there. And if they have poison in there, we need to reject it.
So what you're asking is that we probably have to be more proactive in reading all the platform policies and looking for that poison pill.
Right. Yeah, don't just listen to what they say because they can deceive you. Even the bishop, the priest can deceive you too if they are for that. But you really need to go into the platform and read it carefully to see what condition the poor will receive. I just give you a certain example. For example, helping the kid, that the orphan is a really good thing to do, right? But in the past, in the U.S., they don't allow Catholic agency to adapt to help putting kid for adoption because we don't want to put the kid to a homosexuality couple or something like that. So a lot of Catholic charity was out of adoption agency because of that. Because the government did not allow them. They can only do it if they accept to put the kid into homosexual couple family too. And the church was against that. So the church, a lot of diocese withdrew from it.
What I hear from you when you said that, we have to actually read and not just listen to anything that's been said, and that is the next context situation that I would like to present to you. You know, I think one of the example I would like to put as a context is, the issue of sin associated with the action of abortion. There's Father Altman, for example, from Wisconsin, declared that voting for a platform that advocates to the point to assuring that the death of almost 700,000 babies a year is a sin. But on the other side, you have Father James Marine from the American Magazine that assuring his Facebook um, that it is not a sin. So the question that we ask as a young adult here is it really a sin to vote a candidate with such a platform? It's
It, yeah, it is or not, depending on the situation. So the what I call the principles of sinfulness or the degree of responsibility of your decision based on three things. First is the intention. If you vote for that person with the intention to really agree with that person on abortion, then you definitely sin. Okay, because you accept, because abortion is what the church call intrinsic evil. And when you promote or you agree with it, or uh, you accept it, then you sin. Okay, so if your intention is for abortion, definitely you will sin no matter what. Okay. Now, if you are not intend to vote for that person because that person is for abortion, but you vote for that person because that person is for the poor, then the church come with a third condition. Okay. The second condition is you vote, the first intention, that your intention is voting for the policy that help the poor, not for abortion. Now the church said the second condition is you cannot get the good thing, okay, out of bad action. So if you read the policy of helping the poor of a party, and one of the policy in there, the party said to help the poor, we need to have population control. We need to have give them contraception. We need to have like abortion and everything so that they get less kids, so that they get a little better off in life. And that mean is wrong. Okay, by having abortion to make the family less, and the people alive in that family would be a little happier, then it's wrong. Okay, then the third one, the circumstances. The circumstances is like if you vote for that policy, and you need to look at like the circumstances. If that person become a president, for example, then what kind of problem happen? If a person who for abortion become a president and his policy help the poor, a lot of the poor would get help. But the condition he put in there, those poor people need to abort the kid if they want to get help, for example, then it's not good. The other thing is when they allow other people to have abortion, especially they pay for abortion. So really, when the government pay for something, people see it as free. And a lot of people will have abortion if they have to pay on their own, and they have to think twice before they do it. If what they don't have to pay, somebody pay for them, they would do it easily. So really that policy would induce people to have more abortion. But beside that, we are Catholic. We know that the soul is very important. With a policy like that, a lot of young people's soul would be lost. So the gravity of our action now becomes very grave because a lot of soul would be lost. And what Jesus said in the Bible is if somebody cause a little child to sin, rather have a milestone put on their neck and throw into the sea. Uh, so when we do something like that, when we vote for some people like that, we need to see the gravity of it. So really the church come up with another principle called the double effect principle that you need to take a look at. The double effect principle said that there are a lot of things we are doing have double effect. One is good effect, and the other one is bad effect. Like the way we vote for Trump, for example, there may be a good effect in no abortion. Abortion would be not paid by the government. The bad effect may be the poor. Some of the poor would not get help. We vote for Biden. Some people may get help, but a lot of baby get aborted. So, so there's good effect and bad effect in what we vote for now. So the church said in that situation, we have to look at first if the action we do is either good or neutral. So the action we do in this situation, we go voting. And voting is neutral, not bad, not good. And the church allows us to do it because it's neutral. Okay. And the second principle, it said that when we do it, our intention is to have the good, not the bad effect. It's also okay because you vote for Biden because uh, you want the poor to get help or people to get universal health care, for example. You want to vote for Trump because you want to save the baby. It's all good. Okay. So your intention is good. It's okay too. Yeah. Now, the third one, and the church said that you cannot use uh, an evil mean to achieve a good effect. And voting is not evil mean. Okay. But if you look at the policy, if they use an evil mean to get the effect, for example, to help the poor, they have to kill baby, then that evil mean. And the church reject that. You cannot do that. And the fourth principle, the fourth part of that is you need to weigh they call the gravity of the good effect and the bad effect. If the bad effect is worse than the good effect, then you cannot do it. So I will not give you a conclusion, but 700 baby got killed, have 700,000 baby got killed versus 100,000 family got help. Which one is more important? Which one is heavier, heavy weight? You can think about it and make your own decision. Yeah. But if the effect of what you're doing, uh, the bad effect is much worse than the good effect, you cannot do it. And if you already know of that, you continue to do it because either the other policy would help you personally, or either you are belong to that party and you have to vote for that party no matter what. Then Father Edmund said, it's true. You are sinning because you indirectly cooperate with evil, killing 700,000 babies because of your own benefit or of your party benefit. And Father Martin is in a group that I talked about before. He feel like we need to discontinue from all the old church teaching and start a new church with a progressive idea and with liberal idea. And you know, he's the one who wrote a book about uh, about gay, legalize gay and accepting gay marriage in the church and everything. And that's what he was. Uh,
So, Anko, what you said is really that, if I can see from all the answers you're giving, is that we have to be proactive. We have to read and be knowledgeable on each of the platforms. And
Right.
then secondly, after that, is to look at our intention on what we are doing. So it's
Mm,
not only just the action, but really the intention behind the action. Is
right.
it something for our self benefit, or is it for example, to promote a party instead of
Mm,
promoting an idea or a good faith? So in that case, if for example, like a young adult, we don't have all the knowledge, and
mm,
sometimes we follow our peers, or we we go with our parents decision, whatnot. Does that, in that sense, from what I can hear, is that it is not a sin to actually vote, because you, at that time, you were not knowledgeable about those things, so there was no
right.
intention about it.
Yeah. The judge said that you only sin when you have intention to do something sinful. If you don't know it and you are not sinning, but there are two kinds of not knowing. And the church said that there's a, what they call is a vincible ignorance and invincible ignorance. Vincible ignorance is an ignorance that you can win over by studying, by listening to other people. Okay. Then when you study, you listen to other people, for example, and using your conscience to weigh the issue, and you know what is wrong, what is right. And that's called vincible. And if you really lazy to a point that you don't, uh, you ignore things because you ignore it completely, it's called vincible ignorance. You are sin because vincible ignorance. But invincible ignorance is an ignorance that you try the best you can, but you're still wrong. Okay. For example, you go to a priest, you ask the priest what to do, and you happen to see a liberal priest, and the priest convince you that it's right to do this, and you believe that it's a priest, and now you don't trust the priest. You go to the bishop, and you happen to see a bishop have the same idea, and they both of them told you do the same thing, and you go and you do it. You are not sinning, but the people who tell you to do it would be sinning themselves. Okay, that called vincible ignorance and invincible ignorance. But in this part, in this thing, the only thing I need to explain to you guys, you really don't need to go too far, don't need to read all the platform. But as I said, in all the issue that in here that we bring it up, life issue is the fundamental, like the foundation of all the other issues. And if people said, oh, I build a house, I don't need the foundation. Just build a nice house. Would you do that? You said you need to build the foundation first. So if people ignore like all the policy, when you just hear they talk, you don't need to read. But in the talking, they talk about they would pay money for abortion, they would pay money for all different things that against life, or like doctor assist suicide or all different things. Okay, and you know that they destroy the foundation. And when they destroy the foundation, you can ignore all the other things they talk about. Because killing innocent people, the gravest thing that you need to avoid.
Thank you, Ankoi. It's starting to be very interesting, because I have a lot of questions, or probably reaction to what you say, and I'm trying to see how I can, generalize it, or probably reformulate it. But it seems that a lot of people here is asking that it seems to be very, some kind of, the foundation seems to be really about abortion in a sense of life. So the issue is that we should be looking is only that, if it's operation related or not, then we just have to take that decision. Is it really that simple minded?
Not really. Uh, you remember the church, the bishop said that Catholic, we are not single issue people. Okay, we have to look at all the other issues. But like for example, if we had a lot of candidates, and we have to look at all other issues. But the judge said that if a person or candidate or party have one issue against life, we have to be against it completely. Okay, if we have choice, like one against life, the other one not against life, then we have the choice that we need to go to the side of life. Okay, and in the church said that all the other issues, if you look at the two-party system, they are like one party may give the poor less money, the other party may give the poor little money, but none of them let the poor die in hunger or something like that in this country. They will continue to have welfare. They will continue to have housing for the poor. They will still have some kind of free medicals, even it's not insurance, but some kind of free medical so far. So you look at the policy of them. For example, one party may try to give the poor a lot of money so that they can spend and they can live comfortably without working. The other party may spend less money, but they try to help the poor to get out of the poverty, so become better person by like concentrate the money on helping small business or helping them to get a job, helping them to learn a skill or something like that. And even a party that spend less money may not be bad because after a few years, that person may get out of poverty and become independent from the government help. But if they depend on government all their life, then they continue to depend on the government. The kids continue to depend on the government. And what happens to people if they don't work? Saint Paul said that if you don't work, don't eat. Right? That's what Saint Paul said. So really, when people don't work and they have plenty of time in their hand, and with that plenty of time, they get tempted by the devil to do a lot of bad things. So helping the poor and have them stay home and spend money may not be the good thing because it may spoil them. So really, so we need to look at a lot of different ways. Don't just look at the South side, but we need to think, okay, like the government, a lot of people just count the money. Okay, one party decided to put $5 billion off for the poor, the other one only 2 billion for the poor, and said, "Oh, the 5 billion could be a good one." But if you look at the way how they use that money, maybe the 2 billion is better than the 3 billion or 4 billion or 5 billion. Same thing with healthcare. Same thing with healthcare. For example, my daughter, she worked in the uh, emergency room. The people with insurance, they have to pay a lot when they go deductible to go to emergency room, so they don't really go to emergency room all the time. But the people on government money, even they trip and fall, they went to emergency room. So they abuse the system. And who pay for that? The government, and where the government get money from. And if that money, if they can save that money, they can use for a lot of different good causes. In Canada, they have socialized medicine, right? Yeah, and with socialized medicine, sometimes the doctor refuse you treatment if they feel like you don't need. And sometimes you really need, but they said that you don't need, and you just stay there and wait. So really, socialized medicine in this, a lot of people for it, but they don't know the really plus or minus of it.
Yeah, just to chime in there for socialized medicine, I can say I'm for it. Just being in Canada, I've seen how it works well, and we listen to the medical experts' advice. So that's just my perspective. I don't know how socialized medicine will work in the U.S., but from a Canadian standpoint, I can see how, just from experience, how it has worked well.
Can you repeat it? It seems that we don't hear you very clearly. Probably can you just be, be closer to the microphone, please?
Oh, sorry, is this better?
Yes, a
Okay.
little bit better. Yes.
Yeah, no, I was just saying from my personal experience.
So you You want me to repeat what I answered? Okay. Uh, talk about like among the issue. The judge said that the Catholic is not a single issue person. Okay, we need to look at all the issue, and we have to take into consideration not only the life issue, but also other issue. Not only abortion, but also other issue because they are equally important. And the way the judge said equally important, as I already mentioned about your body, the head is equally important to the hand, to the leg, but for sure that the basic, the most important uh, part of the body is the head. So even it's equally important, but the most basic or the most fundamental issue for a human being is life. So life issue is the fundamentally important issue, while the other issue is important but subject to life issue. Because if you don't have life, then you don't, other issue is nothing. So really when you look at uh, a candidate or the policy of a party or candidate, you need to see whether they are for life. That is the very first thing you look at. And if they are against life, no matter what other issue are good or bad, you need to throw them away. You cannot vote for them. Okay. But if that person is for life, then you go further. You look into other issue. Like for example, there are, especially the church doesn't talk about the final, but not only the presidential candidate, but talk about also other candidate and other issue. So for example, congressman or senator, they all having issue in there. So you can look at like a senator, for example, he's for life, he's against certain thing and he for certain thing. So we look at it and we said, okay, this guy for life, the other guy also for life. Both of them are for life now. But one also for other issue, the other one again, or the other issue. So we have to go with the one that go with other issue too. Okay. So that is what you have to look. Really, you look at the church document here, it's not just for a presidential, but for the main purpose is for Christians to form their own conscience so that they can make decisions in other part of their life, other way of their life, also in voting and everything, but also in at work and other thing too. Okay. So forming conscience, especially this, is based on that. For example, I give you an example. One of the person I knew, he worked for a hospital, and that hospital, because of Obamacare, they are forced to buy insurance that pay for other things, and also that she predict that in the future that hospital will force her to attend an abortion. So she have to find a new job in the other hospital so that she would not have to do it. And she saw what going on, and to prevent it, she looked for a job in the other hospital. And get transferred from that hospital before they forced her to do abortion. Really, this is not just uh, for voting, but for life. So like all the other choice in your life in the future, you need to use this principle to make decision too, even your work. And the main principle is life is fundamental. And if you don't have life, you cannot have anything. It's one thing. The second thing is when you are born, you need to be taken care of. And if the family cannot take care of you, the government needs to help your family take care of you. And that is the duty of the government, that what we pay tax for if they cannot help themselves. But the government cannot really continue to help them, but help family so that they can eventually help themselves. So all the policy need to help people so that they can help themselves in the future. And if a policy that try to keep people depend on the government all the time, so that in next time they go, they vote for you again because they didn't know that they depend on you. and that policy is not really for that person, but that policy is for that party or for the candidate. Because the purpose of policy is to keep people depend on the candidate for money more than help that people to become independent or become better in life.
I have another question from another person here, asking a little bit about more detail about being a conscious, forming a conscious mind, in the context that, for example, like you said in the beginning, um, we try to be. Let's say that young adults want to try to be very conscious about how we should be voting or how we should be living his life. But with all the a lot of confusing facts from different, within the church, can make them a little bit confused on what to choose and what to consider, as they think that the church or some of those people all have an authority in what they say, and they kind of trust them. So in a sense, that the intention here is probably just to follow whatever bishop and priest is going, as they have a better understanding of it. But from what I can see, can you explain more? Is that just being conscious and just follow what the bishop say, or you have to form your own? And another part of sub question is that you recall about the three types of Catholics. Can you actually tell again a little bit more, because there are some people that would like to know about it.
Okay. Uh, you need to form your conscience. You have to base on the church teaching and based on scripture, not based on what the bishop or the priest tell you, but the basic principle to help you to form the conscience is the Bible first. Everything in the Bible said you cannot do. If you want to clear your conscience, you should not do it. Okay, so you need to know the Bible. Then because of there are different teaching from different priests and different bishops, that's why the church come up with the uh, catechism of the Catholic Church. And the catechism of the Catholic Church is big. I think that you may not have time to read it, but if you have question about certain thing, you can go to the catechism, you go to the append, you go to the back, they have a content, really in the back, they have like some kind of glossary. And the glossary, they have like, for example, abortion. You go in abortion and all the issues related to abortion, they tell you what paragraph in the catechism talk about abortion. So you can go to those paragraphs and read it. That is official teaching of the church. Okay, and even priests and bishops, whoever teach that different from what the Catholic catechism of the Catholic Church teach or the Bible teach, and those people are wrong no matter what. Okay, and the church approve it. So the catechism of the Catholic Church also have reference on about the Bible, what the Bible talk about it too. So you go to the catechism, they give you the number, and they also give you the Bible verse related to that. So you can read the Bible related to that, and you form your conscience based on official church teaching, not bishop or priest teaching. And that official church teaching, you have two documents, one from God, the Bible, one from the church, the catechism.
Yeah, sorry. So in a sense, you probably don't. The idea is that to not follow a person, but rather to just confirm through the social teaching of the church and the Bible. Um, and I think for us young adults, the social teaching is not something that we are aware much. We know about the Bible, so probably if people would like to know more about social teaching, where actually will be a good place to start? Is it on the web, or is there you have to buy the book?
Okay, I think that the church just come up with a book. You go to the web, American website. There's a social teaching of the church. Okay, the compendium of social teaching of the church, and really that compendium was chair, the editor, the chair of the edition board was a Vietnamese. Okay, Cardinal Tuan was the one who really chair the committee that wrote that book, and it's on the Vatican website. It also have Vietnamese language in there too. And that Vietnamese language is approved by the cardinal. He was the one who take care of translating it. So you can go on Vatican website, look for uh, the compendium of the social teaching of the church, compendium of the social teaching of the church, and you can find it. That is complete teaching. Okay.
Yeah, really interesting, Anko. Thank you for that reference. If we can actually continue with some of the other issues, we know that life is really something important, but there are also some issues that we would like to actually have your enlightenment. One of the issue that is actually is dividing the country's immigration, especially illegal immigrants. You know, as a Christian thing, we said that we have to be embracing all the strangers. But on the other hand, we also have that balance of considering the legality of it, the economic impact of the country, and probably the national policies that are being instated. So, how can we navigate through this complex issue and try to be as Christian as possible?
Yeah, this issue is a really hot topic, and it's almost have no clear answer for it. But I can give you a principle only, so that you can make your own decision. And before I give you the principle, I would like to ask you a question first. Okay, you guys, you think about you sit in the room of your family right now, and there's somebody knock at the door, said that I don't have a place to live. I want to stay at your home tonight, or I want to stay with you. How do you think? You open the door and let the person in, and you need to know what that person is before you let them in. How about that person knock at the door and said, oh, I want to go into your home. I live in there, you cook for me. You pay my medicals and everything. You pay my kid to go to school. You say yes or no. So really on the immigration, the judge thinks that if they are really persecuted in the country, then you need to help them. Okay. You need to help them, but if they have no other way, they go back, they would get killed, they would get persecuted. Like the Vietnamese refugee, we came here, for example, because we ran away from the communists, right? And other country opened the door for us because if we have no other way to go. But if somebody come in here because they know that in here you got a good life, you got taken care of by the government, and they don't want to work, they just want to abuse the system, then would you accept it? So really, does immigration have like a lot of things we need to look at. First is whether that person really need help, and we need to help them. Okay, morally, when the person really need help, we need to help them. Because if we don't help them, then they would lose their dignity or lose their life. But if they abuse your system, how do you know? You don't know yet. So you need to treat them with respect at the beginning, and you need to like investigate to see whether they are really need or they don't need. You cannot open the door for everybody to come in, but you will investigate. For example, the person knocked at the door of your house. Okay, you may say, "Oh, I got a sleeping bag. You can sleep outside." And give me the name or the phone of the people you know. I call them up to see who you are. And if you know exactly who that person is, you may let that person in. But if you don't know, you would not let that person in your house. The same thing with the country. So they need to know who come in your house, whether that person is danger for the country or not for the country. That's why the bishop said that we have a policy, need to have a good policy for the immigration. Okay? But that policy need to take into account the integration of the border and also the safety of the country. So really, a lot of people forget those part. You need to take into account the safety of the country and let that person in. If that person in doesn't harm the country, doesn't harm the people live in the country, then acceptable. If they come in, then they will have truck, they will gang, they will have a lot of things, then it is not good. So really cannot open the door for everybody. So that's why I said this is a issue really we cannot really talk about it within 10, 20 or 30 minutes, but we are not in a situation like that either. But we cannot really just base our decision on the soundbite. Like for example, a few months ago, I was so upset when I saw a picture of the kid in the case. And I was against Trump when I said, oh, why Trump did that? This is very bad. But a few weeks later, I read that that case was built by Obama, not by Trump. So I said, oh, now I got really deceived by the press. So that's why from that time on, I would not make any decision or judgment based on just what I said I saw on the news. But I have to look into it deeper before I make decision. So most of the thing you hear about this is really just from the news, and the news are biased. Okay, if you look at CNN news, for example, ABC News, you hear different story from Fox News, and depending on who you like, you will say, "Oh, ABC is right" or "Fox is right." But if you are Catholic, you cannot take side like that. You need to take into consideration of everything the bishop talked about. Even they are illegal, they need to treat them with respect. And if they are danger for the country, we should reject them. If they are not danger for the country, depending on the situation, if they go back to their country, they could get harmed, we need to accept them. But if they, another policy is I know like some people promote a policy, different policy, instead of letting the immigrant go into your country, try to help the other country improve their economic situation or their social condition so that the people can stay in their country without immigrate from there. And that will be another good policy that we need to look at too. Not just accept immigration, but how the government help the other country uh, that cause that. So really in social teaching, they have a story that's very good, but I used to use it when I teach social teaching of the church. They said that there was a village nearby a river. And one day they go out and they see a little kid like floating on the river. So people jump in there, save that kid, and throw another kid on the river. Jump in there and save the kid, and the whole village came out and tried to save, and there's so many kids. And there was a guy who ran away from it, who went up the stream, and people came and said, "Why you do that?" Said, "I went up there I go up there to see who threw the kid out, so I have to stop the guy." Okay. So really saving the kid is a good thing, but stop the guy from throwing the kid out the river is also a good thing to do. And we cannot look at it only one way.
It's interesting the story you just mentioned about, going to the root cause, going to the root and stop the root cause of the problem. Uh, but it seems also that that's there's I guess not many people that are thinking like that, and mostly trying to help what is happening right now is like just trying uh, to stop the fires in a sense, where there's a lot of fires, and that is something of an issue also. Well, not an issue, but you know, each of us has some kind of a conscience, like you said, and they're more toward from maybe easier to have with our experience to be better to help them right away than looking for at the cause. And it seems that it requires a bigger community to have many people that can do at the same time.
Mhm.
Um, as a young adult, sometimes we feel like we probably alone and we don't have that kind of community. um, how do you help people like young adults to get together and to actually look at the issue in a way that you giving help them to have a better to form that conscience communally?
Really, I think that based on the church, okay, each parish need to have some kind of uh, educational program for kids like that. Unfortunately, we don't have, especially in Vietnamese community, we don't have it. And uh, I personally want to help, but I am just one person. For example, if your group want to have a program like that once a month, for example, for young adult, I can help you guys on about once a month. One a week I cannot because I have to do a lot of things, but once a month I can do it. And you guys, like for example, give me a topic or have a session like this every month, I would be well. Not only just this, but the faith, okay, believe in God and all different things. I know all of you are parents, especially older people. There's a lot of young adults at home. They don't go to church anymore. And they do a lot of things. We cannot stop them. And we need to join together to help them and help each other. And I'm ready for it.
There's one question here asking, oops, yeah, asking like in the issue of compassion, like you said, we have immigration where we have to first look for the intention on when we want to bring people in. Is it something like of a critical for their life? And we are considering we respect the life, and that's why we are trying to that, and that's a good intention. But about compassion between those district foreigners that are living their life and having problem, and the issue of abortion, for example, or anything like other life issue, not only abortion. How can we actually wait? How someone like us can consider to wait between those compassion? How can we compassion on those different issues at the same time?
Okay, really, we cannot do everything at the same time. Yeah. We need to pick and choose. We have to pick your own priority. And if you have a group, for example, you can divide the group into different task force. And each task force take care of different things. But individually, for example, my case, I cannot go out and do social work because I concentrate on education. And I know other people will do it, but I concentrate everything I have in doing something like this so that other people can have time doing something else. And if they need help on this, they can come to me and I can help them. Yeah. So really, individually, each one of us can only concentrate in one thing. You cannot concentrate on a lot of things. That's one thing. The second thing, no matter what we concentrate on, what we do need to respect life. Okay. For example, we concentrate on social worker for uh, even even for the people uh, who are sick. For example, we are, we help the sick. It's a good thing. Okay. When helping the sick like that, we can also like try to make them feel like God loves them through our love, and we can also when they make some decision that really is not good, we can console them. You can explain to them that should not be, that they should not do something like that, for example. Okay, and you only concentrate on that kind of thing, and you don't need to concentrate on anything other thing. And some people concentrate on helping the poor. You can do it too, but like if you go into a group that helping the poor, they have some policy against life in helping the poor. For example, force them to go abortion or something like that. When then you need to say something against that. You need to say no, or you need to refuse to do what they ask you to do if it's really against church law. And we go into the society, we set example to other people by the way, the compassion and also the love we have to them, but also the love of God. Okay, love of God is the first thing, is the foundation of all the love we have for other people. If we love other people by itself without the love of God, then we are wrong. And if we do everything by the love of God, and with our situation, we can only do certain thing, and we don't ignore the other thing. We concentrate on what we do good. But when we see people do something wrong, we need to say wrong. Cannot just okay with them.
So probably for the next question that could be about the wrong and right in a sense, can you enlighten us in the next situation here? And it's about the LGBTQ issue in a sense that it's something also of a very hot in the US, especially that, we just received, we heard from some comment of the Pope saying that, what we have to create is a civil union for them. That way they are legally covered. So right now we don't not sure if the Vatican has officially clarified what the Pope is saying is what they mean. But on the other side, other priests and bishops have clarified with their flux that, for example, the Bishop Burbish from the Diocese of Arlington, it says that contrary to some report, the Pope Francis did not endorse gay marriage or in any way change the church constant teaching on human sexuality. Marriage is still permanent, exclusive, and a fruitful union between one man and woman. Human sexuality is designed only for the chastic union of man and woman in marriage. But on the other hand, there's also other priests have broken out that jubilation and say that it's the first step in the process for the church to recognize same-sex marriage. So, this kind of issue, how can you articulate that in face of the document for the faithful citizenship?
Okay, really, faithful citizenship, in the document said that family is the basic unit of a society, and family, like marriage, is defined by the faithful union between one man and woman. Okay, not for between two women, two men, but between one man and woman. Faithful union between one man and woman. That in the faithful citizenship say. So what I go back in here, I read some of the articles about how the Pope commanded and the situation. Nobody know exactly the situation because people interview Pope a lot, and they can cut one part of it and put the other part together. Some part they don't like to hear, they just cut it away. So they just cut the part people want to hear, or they want people to hear for sure, and they put in the documentary. But it came from the mouth of the church. But I read one of the article, people speculate that maybe the guy interviewed the church about what he did when he was Archbishop of Buenos Aires in Argentina. Okay, during the time the Pope was the Archbishop over there, there was a law from that put into uh, like for people to vote on, and that law either change, like just make same-sex marriage legal, or make them just homosexual union. And only two people can only choose either one of them. And the Pope said, if that is the situation, he's for civil union, but not for marriage. Okay, because he said that civil union maybe just so that they can have the right, for example, sharing properties, the right having like one person at home take care of everything, the other person go to work, and both of them have insurance or something like that, similar to marriage. But he did not accept marriage. So that's what I read. But what the Bishop of Arlington said is what the church teaching. Okay, and those priests that uh, feel like the church will change, they are wrong. The reason, as I said before, Pope Benedict said we are like continuation of the old church. We change something because we want to modernize it. We want to make it better for like fit the situation, the current situation. But whatever that in the Bible said wrong is wrong. Saint Paul said neither homosexual would go to heaven. Okay, it doesn't mean that homosexual tendency. It means homosexual act. So the church is not against homosexual tendency. Okay, what the church teaching is this: homosexual tendency is it, people sometimes cannot control the tendency. Like I may go out, I may feel like I like a guy more than a woman because that guy understand me, and when we talk together, we have so many things in common, and it's okay for me to do that. And if you go to the Bible, you read the Bible, okay, like the First Samuel, okay, chapter 18. Samuel said that by the time David finished speaking with Saul, I mean, King David went and met with King Saul, okay, and it said David finished speaking with Saul. Jonathan is son of Saul, okay, had become as fond of David as if his life depended on him. He loved him as he loved himself. That's in the Bible. Okay, Jonathan when saw David, and he become fond of David as his life depend on David. And really, after that, based on the Bible, they become good friends to each other. Jonathan saved David a lot of time when Saul tried to kill David. Jonathan hide David and let David know so David can run away. And David loves Jonathan, but not sexually. Okay, just a friend. And David helped Jonathan a lot. And when Jonathan died, David took the son of Jonathan home and have him eat with him and stay at his house as his son. So that tendency is I can say that between David and Saul, based on the Bible, they are attracted to each other, similar to homosexual, but they don't have homosexual act. They did nothing wrong. Each one of them have their own family, but they help each other. They love each other. It's okay. It's okay for two men to help each other. It's okay for two men to love each other, to deal good with each other, helping each other, or two women. It's okay. Okay, but the church doesn't condemn that kind of love. The church condemns the sexual act, but not homosexual act. The church condemns any sexual act outside marriage is condemned. I'm married. If I have sexual act with another woman, not my wife, I get condemned too. Okay, so and marriage is defined as the union between a man and a woman. So two men cannot have sex with each other because it's against nature. Just look at nature and even artificial thing we are doing. We have a nut and a bolt. Two nuts cannot join anything together. Two bolts cannot join anything together. To build a house, they need to use the nut and the bolt to join the wood together, okay, or even the steel together. And that's nature. So when two men join with each other, like two nuts join together, it cannot cause union, and you don't have union at all. So there cannot be civil union there. Like it cannot be married there. Marriage is joining together, sharing life together. And really, the way they define here, like people right now, is like they just try to, uh, I can say frankly, okay, they masturbate together more than anything else. And masturbation is wrong based on the church teaching, no matter what. Masturbation is intrinsically evil. And that's why the church again that. And if you are Vietnamese, you know in Vietnamese have a story of Lưu Bình and Dương Lễ. They are good friends with each other, right? They went to the same school. Then Lưu Bình was a rich son of a rich guy, and he was lazy. He did not study, so he failed. And Dương Lễ passed the test, and he became like a Mandarin in the court and tried to help Lưu Bình. He sent his wife over to stay with Lưu Bình during the time Lưu Bình was in school and cook for Lưu Bình and everything. And Lưu Bình loved Dương Lễ wife. And Dương Lễ wife did not say anything, just give Liu Bing some kind of hope. And when Liu Bing passed the test, he went back home. He looked for Dương Lễ wife. She's not there anymore. And he went to Dương Lễ, saw her in the house. And Liu Bing explained to Dương Lễ, because I love you, I want you to be successful. So I sent my wife to help you. And here's my wife. And now Liu Bing understood how much Dương Lễ loved him, and to a point that let his wife come to his house and help him. So really, the two men and women love each other, try to help each other is okay. But the church doesn't condemn that. The church condemns homosexual act. And we need to distinguish between homosexual act and homosexual love. They are different. That's one thing. The second thing, the main problem of today is they glorify sex. Okay, we are living in a culture that sex is glorified, beauty is glorified, and everything is sexual. And that's why when two men stay with each other, they want to treat each other like wife and husband, and it's wrong. And the reason God create a lot of people don't understand why God create people with homosexual tendency, so that the men don't like men, women don't like women. Uh, but if you look at history, all the talented people, like talent artists, talent musicians, almost all of them are homosexual, because God created them so that they don't want people of opposite sex, so they don't get married. They devote their life for art. They devote their life for something else. And by devote their life for something else, they do a lot of good work, like Michelangelo, for example, okay, or Bach, for example. Uh, they are good artists, and they devote all their life with it. They work day and night in the shop to paint, to write a song. And if they have wife, their wife would be uh, miserable. That's why God created them have homosexual tendencies, so that they don't get married, and they devote their life for something good, for the community, for common good. And today, our kids are not taught about that, and they teach them more about sexuality from the beginning, sex education from the time they are very little, and they make them feel like sex is the goal of their life. When they grow up, they have homosexual tendency. They feel like they don't like girls, so they have sex with boys. They don't like boys, they have sex with another girl, because they feel like that is the goal of their life. But our goal of the life is not. Sex is a gift from God, and that gift with the purpose of uh, like cooperating with God in creation, create new person in life. And without sex, we would not survive, because nobody want to make baby. But with sex, we continue to have baby, and human continue to propagate since the time of creation until now, and forever until the end of the world. But if everybody become homosexual, then the human life, the human race would be stopped immediately, because there's no more procreation. So the church doesn't condemn the people with homosexual tendency, but homosexual act is similar to any act outside marriage, is sin, and that's what the church condemns. Okay, so condemn not just homosexual, but also the heterosexual people that like commit adultery, or the single people that commit fornication, all condemned by the church. The same with the people that are homosexual act. So they all get condemned. So the church did not discriminate against homosexual, but condemn the act because it's against that law, against nature. And the church said that even though we need to love them, we need to care for them, and we need to help them to get out of that situation as much as we can. I think that, for example, the people with homosexual tendency, if we try to help them uh, to have some kind of hobby that they love, and they devote their life on it, they may forget all the other thing, and they will be very happy. The same thing with like the people who smoke, for example. Okay, you can stop smoking by uh, really try to not to smoke and also try to do something else different. Okay. So really, it's hard because right now in the educational system of our situation right now, they don't pay attention anything about spirituality. They don't pay attention about uh, like some kind of ideal situation. The only thing they teach people to become uh, specialists in certain thing is one thing. The second thing is not only that, but really most of the educational system right now, they teach people how to gratify themselves, and that's what happened. And our duty, especially we have children, we need to teach them that their life is not just for sex. Life is more than sex. Uh, and if they find something better, they will enjoy that, and they don't feel sex is that important.
Hi,
Thank you,
thank you,
and
Iceland.
go
Okay. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Joe. I am an American citizen, but I have moved to Canada since, and so I have kind of seen both sides of the politics on both ends and things. And I do not want to make this political, but I know that you said that the foundation is life. I
Mhm.
also feel that a big foundation is love as Catholics, in choosing God and choosing the Word in order
Mhm.
to guide our conscience.
Mhm.
And so, do you? So I love the unborn child, and I love people who I know who are LGBTQ and the immigrants and the people who don't have health care. Um,
Mhm.
but do you, in terms of just for example, abortion, I really liked your illustration of not just saving the children being thrown over, but seeing the root cause of it and seeing the person who's throwing them over. And so, alluding to that, do you think that the only way to save the unborn child, um, or to condemn or be against LGBT, the homosexuality acts, is by illegalizing it? Or do you think that there is another way of making it less necessary for people to need abortions, or finding a different root cause of it? Or do you think it's just voting against it and making it illegal?
Okay. First about the unborn. Okay. Uh, I think that there are two things we have to do at the same time. First is we have to stop killing the baby immediately. So it needs to be for a policy that stop killing the baby as much as possible, as soon as possible. That is the first thing. The second thing, we need to go to education. Really, the main problem right now that people killing each other and killing children without second thought because they have no concept of respecting life. Okay, and the main reason for that because educational system right now. I don't know what happened in Canada, but in the United States, educational system is really there's no called morality teaching. Okay, normal. This is we have to distinguish between like ethic and morality. Morality teaching and ethic teaching. For example, ethic is everybody have some certain kind of ethic. Okay, professional you have ethical, professional ethical ethic, right? That you need to do that certain thing you can do, certain thing you cannot do. Like for example, if you're an engineer, you your company have always have certain kind of training that you have to follow. For example, you cannot steal the company property. You cannot spend the time of the property of the company for doing something on your own, something like that. It's a basic ethic. Okay. The same thing with doctor. There's certain things they cannot do, certain things they can do in that situation. But the children at school, they don't teach them that. They don't teach them basic things they can do or they cannot do. And especially they took that right of teaching the kid away from the parent. That a lot of parents now cannot teach kid at home because uh, if they say something, the kid can go to school and report it, and the police may knock at your door. and and a lot of parents will strip that right of teaching the kid, so the kid no longer uh, be taught like that. That's why educational system is one of the things that in election we also need to take a look at it. Cannot continue the educational policy that have failed the kids for so many years, and we continue put the money into it. That's why the Catholic Church call for like voting for the people who for school choice. Okay, so that the parent have the right to pick the right school for their kid, so that they can get better education. By having better education, we really help the kid to know what is wrong, what is right when they grow up in their life, so they can avoid doing the wrong thing. Because if they don't know what is wrong, what is right, then they continue to do the wrong thing and they don't know anything about it. That's what happened to abortion. For example, uh, in the school, they teach the kid, even little, how to put condom uh, on a cucumber. I mean, teach the kid do certain things. They go home, they practice on each other. Okay, and they feel like they enjoy it, and they just go out and having sex all over the place, and they have baby, and the parents said, "You have baby too soon. Go and kill that baby." And it become like right now the situation that become what Saint Paul, the John Paul II called the cultural of death, or the church called structural, social structural of sin. So we need to really take a long time to change it. We need to have a new policy. We need to have the new teaching at the school. Then the church need to get involved more. Catholic parents need to get involved more in school and everything. So there's no quick solution for what you asked me. Okay, and and we need to show compassion for sure. We cannot really condemn people, but it's hard right now. You got a friend who do bad things, you cannot go in there and say, "Oh, you go to hell because of it." It's not the right thing to do. But you be friend of that girl or that guy first, and well, you be friend and you help that girl, that gal, until the point that they trust you, and now you can explain to them why I help you, and there's certain thing I feel like you do it bad for you. Don't say that you should not do it, but you do it bad for you. For example, if you have abortion, it would bad for you. Give them example. A lot of people who get abortion, they got nightmare every night, like the kid come and ask for his life or something like that. Or some people carry that guilty conscience of killing the kid in their body for the rest of their life, and they would never have peace. And but you cannot tell them immediately, but eventually you can explain to them. And when people know that, and also we need to also show them, like what the judge said, we need to have some kind of structure that help the people who happen to have baby, okay, by accident. Then the judge needs to help take care of the mother and also take care of the baby. So you need to introduce that person to certain organization of the church. For example, in the United States, they have uh, like you can go to any parish, they have organization to help unwed mother in that situation. And you need to introduce them to that so that they don't feel lonely. And then when they elect you, they listen to you and they can make the right decision. But if we condemn them immediately, they would avoid meeting you and we would not be able to help. So really, compassion is very important. We need to understand people. We need to help people. But our intention is not like just tell them it's okay for you to do it, but intention is to find the right time to guide them to the right place. You guys, uh, like Saint Ignatius, okay, say something, I don't know whether you remember. He said that in order for us to teach somebody or to help somebody, we to go, you have to go in by their own door. okay, then lead them out to the other door. So we need to get in there, agree with them in a lot of things and helping them until you can lead them out at that situation to the other door. That means the law lead to the right thing to God.
Thank you, Ankoy, for this feedback about the SK questions. I think I would like to continue with your track of compassion. If we return, for example, if we're taking two examples here that I got from some friends here, um, one about homosexuality and the other one about abortion again. Let's say they said here, if I am a parent actually, and I have kids that either are homosexual or are having abortion, are in the process of doing an abortion, how as a parent can I actually be compassionate, condemning the act, but leaving the human person and be compassionate for that person or my child actually? How you be actually helping them, the parents, to actually go into that process of helping and by at the same thing be truthful to the being a Christian?
Okay. Uh, we have to, there are two things here. Okay. A child that want to have abortion and also another one with same-sex marriage, right? So two situations here. So I talked about the first situation first. Okay. Like normally, uh, unwed mother, when they have a child, they feel ashamed themselves and they feel like they are afraid that they get rejected by family, by other people. So they really, first thing the parent should do with that kid is tell them you love them anyway, you love them very much, and you even love the baby in the womb. You want to have the baby in the womb. And I tell them, I want to have that baby. If you cannot take care of it, I will take care of it. Yeah, the parent guarantee the kid that you will take care of the baby no matter what, and will support the kid when she go through all that situation. Okay. And when the kid feel like they love, and said you need to think very hard on it. Okay. Then I will be here to help you, to advise you any way you like. Don't say no immediately. Just say, I want the kid. Okay. And you need to think about it. And I am here with you no matter what you want. Okay. So when the kid trusts the parent, she will come back and ask the parent when they want to do certain thing. So when they do something wrong, explain to them. For example, said that I know you are in college now, you have children. It would stop school for a while and it would hurt your futures and something like that. But if you go to abortion, you don't you don't know what's going on. Okay, abortion first, it's mentally, it will harm you mentally. You will have a guilty conscience for a long time in your life. It will not go away, it will bother you, and it will bother you to a point that you may not be able to study either. So think about it before you do it. And the second thing is, as I said, I will take care of the kid for you, and also give them a lot of example. There was a lady, I don't remember her name anymore. She was really, her mom was unwed mother and was almost the boyfriend. That means her dad was wanted her mom to abort, and the mom said, asked the parent, and the parent helped went to that situation. So when she gave birth to that lady, she gave her away to a rich family, and that family raised her up, and she got a PhD in psychology. Now she goes teaching everywhere. And she said that thank mom that not abort me. If you abort me, I'm not a person right now. So you don't know what your kid would be. And there's a lot of people, a lot of story I heard. For example, there's a lady who also almost aborted a kid, but she decided not to do. Then when she got married, she got, because of the some kind of sickness, she no longer have kid. She cannot have kid, and really, the kid that she was almost abort came back and helped her and during the old age and stay with her until she died. So if she abort that kid, then nobody would be helping her when she passed away. So those kind of story we need to transmit to the kid and let them understand, like every human being, God, when God created them, have a purpose for them. And if we raise them right, then it's always come back good for the people who help them. It's not a burden. Yeah, that is about the kid. Now about the LGBTQ. Okay, the problem here is people now, when they talk about love, they only think about sexual love. There are so many different ways of loving, not just sexual love. Friendship love is also love. Okay, and normally people, like, they become homosexual because what happened at first is, like, for example, the two girls, they feel like they understand each other so well, they feel comfortable playing to each other, and when they get to a boy or something like that, they get argue. Some people even get married and have problem with the husband, and then become lesbians, stay with another lady, and they feel like they are closer, they understand each other better. Okay, but that kind of understanding love is okay with the church. The only thing the church feel like, when you cannot have sex with each other because it's against nature. That doesn't create you the two husband or two lady for sex, or the two men for sex with each other, because it's against nature. And so if they are Catholic people, and if they really love God, okay, love. Now we talk about love. Okay. Really, all love comes from God. Love comes from God. If it's true love, and if you love God, you do everything God wants you to do. But the problem is people confuse love with lust. Lust is looking for sensual feeling. Love is satisfy your uh, psychological desire. The two women can satisfy each other's psychological desire and become supporting each other without having lust. But the two can have lust without love because they use each other's body just for pleasure. Okay. So we need to distinguish between love and lust. And true love is one good thing for the person we love. And when you have that kind of act, ask yourself or ask people, you really look for yourself, look after yourself, look after other people. Really, when people try to find sensual uh, feeling, they normally look after themselves, not other people. The other people is a tool to make them happy, to make them feel good. And and when both of them mutually agree to become tool for each other to use, that's it. And they engage in sexual act, just become tool for each other to satisfy the fleshy desire more than love. There's so many different ways that homosexual people can express love. For example, the one I talk about, uh, David and Jonathan, or Liu Bình and Dương Lễ, for example, those kind of love, true love. And that true love comes from God, because God is love. Sexual love, uh, unless with the purpose of procreation, did not come from God, but come from the devil. That's why St. Paul said that all these people who try to satisfy the desire of the flesh would not inherit the kingdom of heaven. So when the act they are doing with each other is just to satisfy the desire of the flesh. And the Bible says clearly when you look for it, even husband and wife use each other to just to satisfy the desire of the flesh without love, without having the intention to have children, and they sin too. Because when you use other people as a tool to satisfy yourself, you don't respect that person. You don't really call that person as having dignity at all, just a tool for you to use. So when you love people, you respect them, and you respect them, you don't really uh, lower them to a level of tool to use to satisfy yourself.
Thank you, Anko, for actually giving some example, concrete example of what we can do with compassion while being truthful to the values of the church. And we are talking a lot about abortion and LBGTQ, but from the issue that we have here, we still have a lot other issues like from healthcare, environment, taxes, and economy. But if if you can look at how we can actually how can we consider this issue in a relative to the other issues, especially like the most imminent one is the life and abortion. Can you actually repeat again what really we have to consider um, if we are a conscious Christian?
Okay. On the other issue that you talk about, healthcare, environment, taxes, economy. Okay, the judge said that all these issues, the judge doesn't force you to really agree on each other on anything, because on this issue, each person can have different policy, because we cannot just hear the soundbite and agree or disagree. You can agree with them if you want to, but if there's as I said, there's a poison in the whole policy is abortion. Yeah, there's a poison in there. You should not drink that poison even. So you have to look at the whole policy. Is there any poison in there? And the poison that Chuck mentioned about is abortion. No matter how good those policies you're talking about. I just give you an example of healthcare. Obamacare is for a lot of poor people get Obamacare. A lot of people have pre-existing condition get Obamacare. It's good. But one of the things that the judge was against, for example, is called um, contraception mandate. Okay, the contraception mandate, that means uh, when you buy insurance for the people who work for you, you have to cover contraception. And if you don't cover contraception, you get penalized for it. So the judge is against contraception, and people work for the judge. The judge need to buy insurance that have contraception in there to cover. And the ridiculous thing for the mandate is, like, if I'm sick, I go to doctor give me a prescription to cure my sick, I have to pay deductible. Well, I want to have sex with a girl, I go and buy contraception and no deductible. So that policy, even good healthcare, have a poison pill in there that made contraception the most important thing in there, to a point that people don't have to pay deductible for it. Well, people with cancer have to pay deductible to get the drug. So you need to look at the policy, and the same thing with environment, for example, environment. Uh, this is science, and as I said, it's not 100% zero science. Okay, there I can say there are majority of people saying that uh, the global warming caused by using fuel, using oil, for example. Okay, and other people said no. But for sure, environment, everybody need to take care of. The church always teach you that you need to take care of the environment. You need to keep the world, the place around you better than when you come to this world. You make it better world when you leave this world. That means the environment need to be improved every time when we live in here, so that we leave to our kids a better place to live. And environment is important, but how they do it is different now. Okay, so each company, each people may have different way to take care of environment. Some people said, "Oh, we have to stop all the oil and gas exploration and uh, concentrate on, for example, uh, electrical fuel or something like that." But if you stop oil and gas, how can you heat your house? How can you have electricity right now? It will take maybe 10, 20 years to convert all the cars into electricity. It will take a long time to even like, for example, if you stop all the refinery and chemical plant, you stop everything, because everything we have now come from refinery and chemical plant. The plastic we use at home, it's a chemical product that come from petroleum. But people don't understand that everything you use, like the glass that I wear here, come from petroleum. But I work for oil industry. Every year, we try to find a way to reduce pollution from our product. Okay, so it's really people, everybody try to do it, but each person have different situation, and we need to understand that. For example, we stop how many people will lose job. How can they support their livelihood without job in the industry, especially in Texas area like we are living? Okay, so those kind of things, the judge said, it really they leave. People need to try the best to improve the situation, but the judge it recommend it, but the judge cannot mandate it, because this is not faith and morality. This is science. The judge cannot mandate anything in science, because the judge have been wrong in science in the past and may be wrong again. Okay, if it mandate people, but the judge with the observation of something happen in the world, the judge feel like the judge authority feel like they need to recommend people to pay attention about that, to do certain thing about it, and have more. Everybody have moral duty to improve the environment that you're living on, but how to improve it depending on the opinion and the way they do it. If people frankly reject that, it's different. But some of the proposals, for example, force government to sign in certain agreement, that some of the government feel like other government will cheat them, and they honest, they will force to do something unachievable. And because the honesty, they said, we cannot do it, so we don't sign it. Promise is easy, doing it different. Okay, in terms of environment. Same with taxes. Okay, people like the purpose of taxes is to help the government running. So, but by taxing, you need to leave people room so that they can still have money for their own living comfortably. And the tax is for government to use. The government need to control how they use the tax. And Catholics, again, it's for taxing, okay? You can tax so that you can help the poor. It's a way to call the redistributing wealth from the rich to the poor. But how you help the poor is different now. You take the tax money, you help them to improve their life and have a skill. You do so it's different now. So the way people use the tax is the way we have to look at in the policy. Use the tax to perform abortion to help Planned Parenthood. I'm against it. To help the poor to have job, to improve the road condition, I'm for it. So not just the amount of the tax, but how they use the tax is important. So when we about tax, we need to see how people use it. The same thing with economy. Some people said like the free economy is bad. Some people said that uh, the socialist economy is bad. Depend on how you look at it. If government have answer for everything and government is smarter than everybody else, and uh, maybe control economies or socialize economies is good. But experience said the government know nothing. So, so need to have something that the check always stay in the middle. The check really not 100% for free economy, but not 100% for socialists. The check feel like okay, the check theory of economy is we are not the owner of what we have. We are the steward. Okay, we are steward of what we have. Everything given to us is a gift from God. And the good steward know how to. Jesus have a lot of steward story, uh, parables in the Bible, right? So we become a good steward, how to use the gift that God gave to us. So that's why if we are steward, we have the right to make certain decision on what we are given to govern. Okay, and that's why, but we are not having absolute right on it, because we cannot accumulate all the wealth for ourselves and put it away without helping the people who need it. But we need to look at it as we are steward. We we work for God. We are not working for ourselves. So we need to enter God in the future when we go up there over there, how we use what He gave to us in this life. So the Catholic need to take a look at it, how we answer God about the gift He gave to us. Okay. So the church really not against free economy, but against the people who feel like they are the boss for everything. So socialists, the government is the boss. The church also against it. Okay. Well, capitalists, the owner think they are the absolute boss. The church is also against that idea.
Thank you, Ankoy, for explaining through all those field that to I have a certain view of it, and I know that it's probably late now, but I would like to actually have a last question for you, especially that we have been here together for 2 hours, and you have here a lot of those young adults question about either about what is happening or in the for the election, but also in other field. And the last question I will ask you and Koi is. What will be the take-home message that you would like to give to the young adults here?
Okay, for me, as I said from the beginning, I I don't have manpower to là như là anh Liêm để mà tổ chức anything, to organize anything. But if you have people, I can help you guys like 1 or 2 hours every month, and we can open it for not only just your group, but for everybody, for all young adults everywhere. They can join us. Or if you guys can have a program, for example, then we can come up with a video every month to put on YouTube about this kind of thing. And yeah, and the format, I like this format, is question and answer, because it's more natural than the presentation. So we can come up with like the question about faith, the question about morality, the question about even liturgies and everything. Because really, I am trained like similar to a general doctor. I mean, and the church, I am a family doctor in terms of church teaching, because that is my field. Uh, I learn everything, but in general, I cannot go into details a lot. But in general, I can answer almost all the questions. But when I need to go to detail, I need to stop and look deeper or ask somebody else specialized in that situation. But I think that for lay people, general question and general answer would be more than enough.
think we always need somebody to actually have, like a kind of portal. And I think that you are that portal that could help us. And I'm pretty sure that Alim agree that we will actually keep in mind that you are available for us.
Yeah, I never refuse. See, one of the things is this. In my prayer, I said, I said to God that I don't want to volunteer anything. But if God wants somebody to come to me and ask me to do something and is pleasing God, I would do it. But I would not go and ask people, let me do it for you or something like that. I would not do it. Only when people, and I never advertise myself. And Liam know me for a long time, 20 years, more than 20 years, but he did not know me. He knew me, but not know me. We even slept in the same room, man.
Well, not in the same that
Father Rouge.
many people in there. Uh, well, and Koi, thank you, Nam, for uh, having a very lively discussion session. I think personally, I think I got this big message for me. At the beginning, I thought that this session will help me understand uh, the teaching of the church in all these different realms, especially politics, uh, to live in that environment. Uh, but then, after many things and calls that and listened to him, I discover the essence for me is to be a Christian foremost. To be a Christian, how to be a Christian foremost in the reality of the word, and not to use the church to live in that reality alone, but to be a Christian. And I think that's the message I would take home for me. And that's a big, big aha moment for me. So thank you, and Koi, for that. And I'm sure that each one of us who has been on this session have discovered something to take home with us, to be more of an authentic Christian as God wants us to be in our time and circumstances. So thank you, Nkoi. And I definitely will take into heart your offer of helping us in a prolonged fashion. And I'm sure we will come up with something.
Okay.
And, yes, so thank you so much. And I thank you for all the participants have stayed with the session until now. That is more than 2 hours. I hope that you have gathered something, collect something, not just for this election, but to be a better Christian from this point forth. So for that, thank you. And of course, thank you, Nam, for being here with us, moderating this lively, wonderful, informative, and very Christian session. Thank you. At the end, I think now probably we need to say a prayer to thank God for this wonderful session. Yes, and we can conclude with that.
So thank you, Anlim. Probably it's a good time to actually thank God, especially that He have bring us Ankoi to help us to be a better Christian, or more precisely, to be closer to you, so that you can actually flow and give us the understanding that you want us to understand. And we are really grateful, dear Lord, that you have brought us Ankoi to this session, and also all the people here that have actually opened their heart to listen and also receive uh, any gifts that you are really giving them for this situation, for their time, and for the moment for them. Thank you for all the people that have prepared and organized this session. And most of the thing, thank you to you, God, who actually help us to gather together this evening so that we can, with your presence, enjoy the teaching that you want us to have to be a better Christian, to be a faithful citizen in this world. You really want us to be that person that's going to change or at least give the sense that we are working for your kingdom. So really, we are really grateful for you to actually have faith in us to be that partner in this world to help each other to bring more people to better respect people, to better respect life. And we thank Jesus, our Savior. Amen.
Rồi, cảm ơn tất cả anh chị em.
Cảm
Cảm ơn
ơn
anh
cô
Khôi
rất là
nhiều.
nhiều nhé.
Rồi,
Have
thôi,
a
good
good
night.
evening, everybody.
Alright,
Rồi,
And
good
Thank
night.
you, everybody,
Good
and have
night.
a
that
nice
was the
good
next
night.
session.
Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Good night.
What are you doing, Daddy?
Say bye-bye. Want to say bye-bye to everybody? Come say bye-bye before everybody leave.
Bye,
Bye.
Khan.
Go see.
Bye.
Okay.
He's too slow. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. Because I want to say hi to your wife Nam. Yeah, Phương. Yeah.
Cảm ơn chị Anh Vin. I'll
Okay.
let her know about it.
Yes, the two kids, they are fine.
They're sleeping, but they're fine, very fine. Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay.
Now,
Take care, Nam.
Thank you. Yes, and him.
you know what Uncoy offer gave me a serious thought. Now, we do not have the young adult ministry yet. However, it doesn't stop us from doing something for the young adults.
I
We
agree.
don't really need that in order to do something,
True.
you know. So I think, you know, I would like you to take this forward. This is just the beginning.
Mhm.
Think about all the issues that about same thing. But you know what Ankoy talked today is more than just
Politics.
faithful citizenship. It's
Mhm.
much more than that.
Yes.
You know, so think about that. Talk with some other young adults. Come up with like six topics that
Mhm.
you can get Ankoy to help, and we can have these kind of session. And I think the next time we probably want to do it 90 minutes or less because 2 hours kind
Yes.
of long, you know.
Yeah.
But you can do that pretty much the same format if you want to, which you and you can form a team. You in the back for full, right? Yeah, so you can have an initiative to do this kind of thing.
Okay.
And you know, and Koi is offered to help. I mean, it's tremendous resources for us.
Yes.
As he said, I know him for 20 years, but I really didn't know him to be such a resource, right? Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
think about it, pray over it, talk with some other people.
I
have
really
a
like to
program.
find if we can actually have some feedback from the young adults
Yes,
because I really like that if it's not only me. I mean, I'm okay to actually take the initiative, but I really like if there's other young adult that feels that will make a big impact on
Yeah,
other friends and their
right.
peers.
It's probably get people from all the regions to participate with you to get something that more of a cross country.
Yeah.
That'd be
Uh,
that'd be great.
I don't know, Anlim, if you know some of the young adults that went today, because I really like to have their emails and actually just have a special discussion with the recording. I don't know if you know all the name. It can reach out with having those emails.
Oh my gosh, you should have told me that because I could have captured.
Well, we have the recording, so we should have it, no?
Oh yeah, we had recording, but I'm not so sure we can see the name.
Okay. I
Yeah.
probably